Welcome to the Real Estate Show on WGBF AM with your host, Charlie Butler. This is where you'll learn to sell your home quickly and for more money. And now, the host of the Real Estate Show, the guy who guarantees to sell your home or he'll buy it himself, Charlie Butler.
Good morning, Tri-State. This is the Charlie Butler Show. And as I am every Sunday morning, I'm here with my lovely co-host, Debbie Barr.
Well, thank you. Good morning, Charlie. How you doing?
I'm feeling better. Those of you that may have listened, we had a pre-recorded show on last week because I had bronchitis. So
yes, you were coughing up a storm from what I understand.
I was, but apologize for not being here. But we're back this week, and here just in a little while, we're going to bring the developers of the Promenade. People are seeing that going back up, and they're going to be with us here in just a little bit.
I'm excited to hear more about it.
Yeah, me too. So, Evie, we haven't talked here in a few weeks, or a couple weeks, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
So, what's been going on at Waterstone?
You know, we are working on some new programs, which is pretty exciting. Currently, we have government programs, so like FHA and VA and USDA programs that go down to a credit score of 600. The tough things with those, though, is we have to go by that lender's guidelines, and Waterstone is developing a program to actually go down to 585 credit score wise on those government loans, and it will be Waterstone's program, so there's a little bit more flexibility with the underwriting than what we currently have.
Okay, the obvious question is, as we start approving people with lower credit scores, what's going to keep us from getting back in the situation that we got in 2008?
It still has to be accepted by Fannie Mae guidelines, even whenever it moves to Waterstone Mortgage. And so what's probably going to come into play is that those individuals with the lower credit scores have to have funds in what we would call reserves. And what that means is after closing, they still have, say, 2 months worth of payments in their checking or savings accounts. They don't have to bring those funds to closing. We just have to show that they still have money left over in the bank to fall back on.
That should help as long as we don't get, again, as you know, we got very loose with the documentation,
right?
Several years ago.
No, I mean, you're still going to have the tough documentation. With it flipping to Waterstone, I guess there's a little bit more room for understanding and providing what we would call compensating factors. So say you have a borrower that they had a medical issue or lost their job for a brief period of time, and that caused their credit score to go down, but now they're back on the right path. They could have a compensating factor as maybe their spouse cannot be on their loan, or, that they're getting additional income that way, or they do have extra funds in the bank, or they've been in their line of work for 5 years, 10 years, things like that show that they're still a stable borrower. They just had a rough time somewhere along the way.
And I know Derek Danks, who's been on the show a few times, who is the regional director for Waterstone, mentioned one day that, the way credit scoring was being done was going to be different coming up as far as, they were going to look more at the last 12 months.
Right.
Medical wasn't going to carry as much weight as it once did.
Right. Those changes, are still coming into play. I know that such things as judgments has moved to a different credit bureau. It's not with the big three, which would be Equifax, TransUnion, or Experian. It's not being reported through those, so it shouldn't really be contributing to the credit scores as much. Our credit reports have not switched yet, but I have seen credit reports where it truly shows the 12-month history of, whatever liability, whether it be a credit card or an auto loan, mortgage loan, that goes through and it documents how you paid and how much you paid versus what the minimum payment was due.
So, Evie, those people out there that are thinking now, I can't get a house, I've had some credit issues. How can I get a hold of you where you can, where you can explain to them what can be done?
They can give me a call at 812-463-3199 or shoot me an email at ebar@waterstonemortgage.com. I'm always up for giving a second opinion. If someone's not ready to buy right now, I'm not a credit counselor by any means, but there's some tricks and things that we can look at to maybe get them in that position quicker than what they would be able to on their own.
Evie, thank you. I want to move on to our guests. So I'm really excited here about having these guys today. I know both of them, so it's one of the few times I've ever been excited to see them. But just joke. It's got Steve Martin and Chris Stewart. Steve is with Sperry Van Ness, the Martin Group, as is Chris, and they're the developers of the Promenade. And some of you that have been going up and down Burkhart, you see the big signs out there, and you see the big dirt movers, for lack of a better term. And Steve, Chris, welcome today.
Thank you.
So, Steve, what is the Promenade?
Well, that's a good question, Charlie. Thanks. Our concept and our vision of what we had is a community where we live, work, and play by placemaking. It incorporates a smart use of land, quality living conveniences, comforts, and diverse residential accommodations, and respect for the environment, and some hospitality options, and the finest shopping and dining experiences that we can bring to Evansville, and trying to put it all together seamlessly in one community. A lot of people call it new urbanism. And new urbanism, there's been a lot of talk about here in Evansville. We're doing downtown. That's a trend across the country, and that's important. And because with new urbanism, the Urban Land Institute, which is the premier organization for urban development, says that people have a diverse group of places they want to live. 13% of the millennials, which that's who we're all after, as the millennials, because they're now the biggest group. They passed the baby boomers, and
the baby boomers are getting old anyway.
That's right. That's right.
Are you speaking from experience,
Absolutely.
Charlie?
I don't think it goes down to 39, Abby. So it's.
Well, 13% of the millennials want to be downtown. 35% want to be in the city, but in other neighborhoods around the neighborhoods surrounding downtown. So this is nationwide. This is not Evans. This is everywhere. 28% have said they want to be in the suburbs, and 24% want to live in rural America. So there's a big diversity, and everybody is after that population. And part of what we're doing is trying to be one of the feathers in the quill for Evansville to attract and retain the best and brightest, so that we raise the level and standard for our workforce and our citizens.
So Steve, is one of the are you guys doing, maybe would you compare it? How would you compare it to, say, we're talking about new urbanism as far as what Ben Kunkel's done downtown, like with the McCurdy and with the condos he's done and things like that? Is that, are you, while you're doing something newer, I mean, he's taking some old buildings while you're doing something newer. Is that a good comparison right there?
Well, they have similarities and they have differences. The similarities are that they are both focused on architecture. They're both focused on the quality of the buildings and the walkability and those things. The differences are what he is doing primarily is taking existing buildings and reusing them.
Right.
And what we're doing is trying to take the history of buildings that have been popular throughout time and create something that takes into account modern technologies, modern design, and those things, and mix them together. And it gives another alternative. It's they're not competitive. They are choices for people to make, just like some people want a 2-story and some people want a 1-story when they're buying a house. And
right.
So just a choice.
So the development itself will be what's the makeup as far, what's your perception as far as the makeup of residential, commercial, retail? How will that split out?
Well, what we've done, we being a true mixed use, that is our goal. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be a lot of retail in there and restaurants so that people can walk. We've designed walkability. We have a master walkability plan and biking plan for the entire development. And one of the things we want to do is hook it into a lot of those connectors as they are developed throughout Evansville. But what it will do, we'll have shopping centers and retail, and then we'll have office, and that would include both single users and multiple users, and medical office. We expect to see some medical office in there as well. A lot of restaurants, fast casual, fast, full service. Fast casual would be something like a Jason's Deli.
Right.
And fast food, of course, would be something like an Arby's or a Zaxby's. Zaxby's has located recently. Full service would be like a Red Lobster or a Chuy's. One of the things we've been very successful at so far is bringing in new products. Very few already existing coming into Evansville if you look at what's there and what's coming. We're looking at pubs like Re-Ra's or like Scotty's Brew House.
Right.
Bringing them in. Some coffee shops, local and national. Doesn't have to be a Starbucks. It might be a Starbucks, but it could also be a local coffee house that wants to start up. So we're trying to bring trying to create character in a neighborhood, using architecture, using who's there, and the walkability factor, so people can get up, walk down restaurants, and go to restaurants or whatever, and then have some nightlife, bars and things of that nature, like a Carson's Brewery or Bar Louie or Scotty's Brew House, like I said, or Tin Man, things of that nature. And then there's a housing component, and we're looking at apartments, both seniors and family or general residential, and some condos. We're really right now looking for a condo developer. We're trying to decide who that's going to be, to see some condos be developed there in the promenade. We have some places that we want to see that happen. And it could even be, we've seen in some developments where a zero lot line single family house development could make some sense. So it just depends on how that all plays out. So it's a wide variety.
But there's still, I mean, obviously, you've got, when you drive by there, those that for some reason don't know, it's on Burkhart. I mean, it's the easiest way to see it. I mean, it goes from Burkhart back to, gosh.
Is it Cross Point?
Cross Point,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's, how many acres, Steve?
215.
Okay, I knew it was huge. I didn't know the size, 215.
Yeah.
But you've had this idea for a while.
Yeah.
And in fact, I can remember being at Indiana Commercial Board of Realtors meeting, and you presenting this, and we were all wowed by it. But that was like 2008.
Yeah, that's right. That's
early
exactly
2008, right. I think. So what happened? I'm asking the question I know the answer to, but
sure, absolutely. No, what we got involved in this in 2007. It's 2017 now, so that's been 10 years. So. And what happened was the Great Recession.
Yes.
And our timing, we had just gotten involved. We had just started doing our planning, which we'll talk about in a little bit, what kind of planning we did in that process. But we just got started in that process when the biggest recession short of the Great Depression that we've experienced, the biggest one in our lifetime,
yes,
took hold, and real estate came to a screeching halt as far as new development, and had to readjust itself, and took about 6 years there to get itself readjusted. And then things started again, and we had Academy come in, and they were the first one into our development. And then since then we've had several more, and we've got more coming. So, but we had a lot of time to plan.
The Lehman Brothers and some of the other things that happened gave you quite a bit of extra time to plan. Unfortunately, we'll say
they could have shortened it up as far as we were concerned.
Absolutely, yeah. I had somebody after the 2008. They said, "What's taken the biggest hit? Here during the recession?" And I said, "My golf game. I've had to go back to work again. I just I can't play as much." We've also got Chris Stewart with us today. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. I got a little bit of a cold, but good morning.
Well, so do I, Chris. So we're in the same boat. So Chris, I mean, I've talked with Steve often about this, and you and I talk from time to time. But what's your role in this project, Chris?
I kind of see the day-to-day, the coordination.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and there's a lot of coordinating going on, a lot of subcontractors. We got roads going in, a lot of planning.
And yeah, with everything that's going on, there is going to be just tremendous amount of logistics.
There is. We've got contractors that need to plant a tree, and we got the same contractor that needs to plant a pipe in the ground, and somehow or another we got to make it work. But at the end of the day, we get there.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And so Steve or Chris, whoever wants to jump in here, a lot of talk about Costco, and so that's you want to talk? You want to talk about that a little bit about a timeline as far as what the public can expect? Because for those that don't know, I saw a survey recently. Costco has what's the right term here? The highest customer favorability rating of any retailer in the country.
Wow. And
they're coming to Evansville, folks. So, and in the Promenade. So, Steve, you want to talk about that?
Sure, we'd be glad to. They are they'll start doing some dirt moving and that kind of thing here in the next couple months, and get some dirt down. They probably won't start construction on their building until spring, and they're opening up probably by this time next year, and they're very excited to be coming to Evansville. I think the average Costco I saw where they do $180 million in sales. That's the average.
That's crazy.
That's amazing. And they're paying they're starting people after they've been there 60 days are at $15 plus an hour, and they have
That's
full
great.
benefits, and they're a really good employer. So they're another good corporate citizen to help attract that millennial generation that we're and retain them. It's one more thing that we have in Evansville now that people sometimes leave to be close to.
So, any idea from you guys' assessments how many jobs Costco's going to add? Is there any idea yet?
They know. I don't know.
Okay,
that. I'm sorry.
Of course, that would be they'll have construction before they even open. Obviously, they're going to add a lot of construction jobs too.
I should have had that number, but
I know. That's fine. I mean,
I recall it being several hundred whenever they presented the area plan.
Yeah,
but it was several hundred.
Yeah, so a big boost for the economy.
Absolutely, it's a huge boost.
And so the tenants that are coming. Who can? I know there's some things you guys can't talk about, although we're going to try to get it out of you. But can you tell some of the things that are happening that you can talk about?
We have one that we closed on recently at the corner of Burkhardt and Vogel. It's a Wasabi, their hibachi sushi restaurant. They're currently doing their building design. We expect to see that submitted for architectural review. That's one component we put in place. If we put a committee that reviews all the architecture, so they can kind of protect the integrity, the quality of what we're trying to do. And we'll probably run that through that process over about a 60-day, 90-day period, and hopefully they'll be under construction in spring.
I know this is public knowledge, and their name I shouldn't know it flew off the top, but there's a grocery store.
Right. Fresh Time.
Fresh Time, thank you.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, can one of you explain their concept a little bit?
Sure. Fresh Time is the building that you see on. They're kind of maybe 100 yards off of Vogel and Burkhardt, and they have all the walls up now and the skeleton, and so they're moving along. What they are is across. It's kind of a farmer's market, but everything is natural. They're very much like a Whole Foods, except a lower price point. Would be the way they've been described to me. Now they have a lot of natural, a lot of organic, etc. And so they'll be very popular. There's 5 or 6 in Indianapolis alone, and they're in Louisville. And they are while they're not directly owned by Myers, Myers is a big owner in them, and so they bring a lot to the table for them as well.
I have a pretty simple question. So will Vogel go all the way through to Cross Point before it's all over with?
Eventually. Not right now.
Gotcha.
Right now, it goes to the back of Fresh Time. Okay. And we are opening up because we do anticipate probably a senior housing project going in behind it. Okay. But it will stop there until we get done. So the reason that we've stopped it there is from there to Cross Point, we have a lake that's going to go in.
Okay.
And there's going to be a lot of things around that lake. And I think that kind of leads into one of the misconceptions maybe of the promenade by the public sometimes. I think sometimes the public thinks that we're developing the whole thing at one time. Right. Kind of like Eastland Mall was when Eastland Mall was built. General Growth came in and built the whole thing at one time. What we're doing is selling land, And we're doing some of the development, but an awful lot of it, we're selling the land, and other developers are coming in, whether that's a housing developer or whether that's a retail developer. Example, Academy came in, another developer built that for Academy and leased it to Academy. And the same thing goes true for restaurants. A lot of restaurants are built by other people or by the restaurant themselves. And Fresh Time, same thing. They all have, that's the way the commercial real estate investment side works. And so we didn't build those buildings, and we're selling the land. So unlike where the total development's built by one developer, we are selling land. And so we're looking for, and if people have retail developers or office developers that are looking for product or they want to locate, we do some of the build to suits. We'll build that for them as well. But there are a lot of opportunities there for developers to come in and build.
And does the building have to essentially be approved in some way? The
Absolutely.
structure, how it looks, everything like that. That's not free game as to what you want to put.
The Architectural Review Committee that Chris referred to earlier, they control every aspect, everything from down to what flowers or what bushes are planted. We want to make sure that everybody is, that number one, the quality is there, and number two, there are things, for instance, that people don't think about, view corridors, that one retailer wants to make sure that he's behind another one and there's enough room that the public coming down the street can see where he's at. And so we manage that to make sure those view corridors are adequate, and we make sure the height restrictions are there and all those things. So we have engineer, architect, and people within ownership that sit on that committee. And normally, I mean, it takes maybe 3 or 4 back and forth before they get the building right. It also increases the quality. Example, the Costco building that's going up is a higher quality building than maybe in some other communities, because we said this is our standard, and they were willing to do that. And so that's a great thing. That was a great from their standpoint, and great for our development, and great for Evansville. We're trying to raise the bar.
I'm assuming that I can think of another development out there that but before you guys were online, that I took an import car dealer to high end used cars. Okay, and he told me, and we sat down and talked. He said, "I'd love to have them." He said, "I know who they are, be a great tenant," but he said, "That's not what we told our people we're going to do." You know,
right?
Is there some of that, you know, with you guys, Steve, that, you know, where, you know, you've got people there, you've got people who've already made commitments, and you've told them that there's going to be a certain quality, and even though there may be somebody think, man, I would love to have them as a tenant, I'd love that, but you don't feel like you can.
Yeah, we have an initial discussion to kind of get a feel for what they want to plan, and then we take that back to the team and have that discussion and make a decision. But there's been several cases where people wanted to locate within the promenade, and they just didn't quite have the fit. And
it doesn't make it a bad business.
No,
they
have a particular niche they're trying to accommodate, and we're trying to do something a little different.
Right. And so, what do you guys see as not just for Vandenberg County, but Vandenberg, Warwick overall? What do you see as the economic impact of the promenade, long term?
Well, what's really interesting, when you look at the promenade, we're bringing in, if it develops out the way we think it will bring in $500 million worth of new taxable real estate. And of course,
wow.
Costco is going in, they're going to be taxable. We originally went, as everybody knows, we went after the IU School of Medicine, and that wouldn't have been taxable for us. So this is actually a good thing, because it builds the TIF and all the things for the east side that are there.
I had listings out there, Steve, so I was rooting for you.
Well, we're glad to see Evansville got it, and that it's downtown, and it's doing great things, and I think Mayor Winnicky is doing wonderful things to get that all done, and we're thrilled, and we're very supportive of that. But we're glad to see Costco there. But in addition to that, I think what's interesting is that we've projected that it will add roughly $70 to $75 million to the tax base of Evansville to be used for a lot of things, and when it's fully developed out. So there's a huge impact, not to mention the number, and I don't have that number in front of me, but the number of jobs that it creates and the economic impact of
that's got to be huge.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I wish I'd brought that number because it's a huge, massive number, and so it's exciting. But there's an awful lot of excitement. The momentum is started. We put roughly $5 million worth of streets in that you see now. We've used a lot of pavers, and you'll be seeing lights and a lot of vegetation and trees and things going in here shortly over the winter. And then we're getting ready to start another $5 million worth of roads here very shortly over around Costco. And so this may well be, and this is not something I've researched, but this may well be the largest private infrastructure project in Southwest Indiana to date. And so, because this is not public dollars, these are dollars that are coming in, and they're not public. These streets, we're paying for them, the lights, the sewers, the irrigation, all the things we're doing, and so it's a private sector investment, and we go after that. We have to compete every day out there. We chase these retailers down. Costco and Academy. These are usually in both cases over 2-year negotiations, and so they are very intense and very complicated. And we want to bring a lot of new things to Evansville. It doesn't come at a cost, so but it's a lot of fun. We get to play every day. It's a little intense at times, but it's fun.
It's like I tell my team about what we do in real estate. I say, when they say, "Well, this is hard," I said, "Well, it sure beats working."
Yes.
That's right.
And Chris, earlier you talked about wasabi and some things that are coming, and I know you can't. Is there any sectors that you guys are having discussions with that you feel like are pretty far along?
Yeah, we're pretty aggressive in the retail product. We're trying to get that anchored.
Okay.
We are always interested in somebody looking to do medical office. We think that medical office or some kind of professional office makes a lot of sense. I think that retail component needs to be in place. The housing component needs to be in place for that to make more sense. But housing's in process. It takes some time. But yeah, we have a lot of discussions going on.
There is one project that we can talk about, and that is Jared Lewigs is putting together a shopping center, and right along Burkhart, and he's tenanting it up right now. So people that might be looking might want to talk to Jared or call us, and we'll put you in touch. But he's putting together that center right there on Burkhart, and we think it's going to be a neat location for him.
So it's going to be in the promenade there along Burkhart. Okay, yep. Great. That's great. We're down to a couple minutes. So where can people who have ideas for the promenade or potential retailers or
can we request retailers?
You can. We get people that request it literally every week, and we love to hear from them because we've gotten ideas from them, and people like Costco were on things that people had sent in previously. We have a website, promenade-evansville.com, and you can call us at our office, 471-2500, or you can email me at steve.martin@themartingroup.net. And we would love to hear from you, and we'd love to hear your ideas and thoughts. And we also have a Facebook page, so just the Promenade. So
I know a lot of people would love to see a Trader Joe's. That's the biggie.
That's not going to happen, though. I'm sorry to tell you that.
Have you looked into Charming Charlie's? Is my other one.
That's me.
Charming Charlie's. Hey. Oh, no.
And every that knock you're here at the door, that's Rush trying to get in.
Yeah. I should never say Trader Joe's will not happen, but Trader Joe's has been a high request.
Yes.
We pursued them. I don't know the details. They only did 1 or 2 stores last year in the entire United States. They're not really in expansion mode right now. They might at some point. But,
yes.
But since we're going to have 2 grocery stores, so, all right.
Okay. Steve Martin, Chris Stewart, developers of the Promenade, give them a call. And this will be up on our website, on the WGBF AM website. We have really got to go. This is Charlie Butler for Every Bar. Have a great Sunday.
You've been listening to The Real Estate Show on WGBF AM with the guy who guarantees to sell your home or he'll buy it himself, Charlie Butler. Join us every week at this time to find out how to sell your home quickly and for more money. For more information, email cbutler@kw.com or visit charliebutlerteam.com.